Zach, welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. I'm so happy you're here, man. How are you doing today, man?
Oh, man. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be with you. I'm excited.
Oh, man. All right. So now we're just meeting for the first time via the internet. You look great. So there's people out there that have even less exposure to you than me. So if somebody is just hearing about you for the first time, who is Zach?
Totally. Zach is an author, entrepreneur, speaker. I really want to help people grow in their relationship with God in a non-overwhelming way. I live up in Minneapolis now. I've been up here for about a year and a half. I grew up here, but then I brought my wife here. She is Puerto Rican and raised in Miami, and I brought her to the snow. And it just so happened to be that this year, the snow situation has been more extreme than I can ever remember in the past. And I feel absolutely awful about it. I think we had 3 weeks where it was like 20 below zero, 50 below zero wind chill. Like if you go outside and you throw a pot of hot water, like boiling water in the air, it literally evaporates before it hits the ground. And so I feel awful. But here we are and we're making it work. We're trying to stay warm.
Yeah, I believe in you guys. Same thing here. When you throw water up here, though, it just like evaporates into a cloud. It doesn't freeze. It just turns into a cloud. It's so hot. So,
literally.
Oh man, how is she dealing with the cold? Is she doing all right?
She's doing okay. She's ready. She's just grateful that we get to travel a little bit, and she wants to spend even more time with her family down in Florida.
I noticed, I checked earlier, you guys invested heavily in heated blankets. And so good on you guys. You're just keeping that whole industry going.
Oh, 100%. That's my, all my stock options are in fleece and flannel.
Oh, good on you. Good call. Old Navy and Gap are calling. You got that on lock. All right. So, the podcast is called Maybe You're Like Me. And so on the podcast, we want to get to know you maybe a few layers deeper than you would get to see like the filtered version of yourself on Instagram. But if we're going to get past the filtered version, we got to start with the filtered version. So like, give me like the shiny version of you. Like if somebody's just following you on Instagram, who are they seeing as Zach?
They're going to see somebody that loves spending time with family. They're going to see somebody that is creating products and always on the move. Where they're going to see somebody that is helping you grow in your faith in a pretty simplistic, easy, actionable way, especially on TikTok specifically. More simple growth versus really deep.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You do less dancing on TikTok than I think most people would hope for, but we'll get them next time. Just put that
next
back
season.
Of your brain next. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. The people want it though. That's what I'm saying. The people are asking for it. So
I love it.
Oh man.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, but genuinely, so like just from the bits of you that I get to see, I've listened to you on other podcasts before, and I've checked out your Instagram thoroughly. Number one, the pictures you took with your wife, JC Penny Styles, was fantastic. That was glorious.
The funniest thing in the world is when I was 22, I think 22, somewhere early 20s. That was like 15 years ago. I was looking for a summer job and I loved photography. And so I would take like nature and city photography. I'd never taken pictures of people before. And so as a 20, maybe I was 20 even, I strolled into JCPenney studios and I was like, this is definitely for me. And I showed them my book of photos of old cars and things that I thought were very impressive, snowboard photography and things like that. And they were like, "Oh, you're hired." And so I ended up, my first photography job was working in a photo studio, taking pictures of kids and families and trying to make them smile a little bit. So this year, just a couple months ago, my wife and it was date night and it was my turn to decide what to do. And I was like, there's nothing better than reenacting one of my first jobs. Yeah. And so we dressed up. I dressed her. I chose her Canadian tuxedo, denim Dan apparel, and man, we went and had the most fun time ever. And I think we're gonna really cherish those photos and memories for a long time.
Yeah, I hope that you guys have those like hung on your wall somewhere or something.
Yeah, we need them printed.
Yeah, let's make that happen. We'll start a Kickstarter. Everyone, information is in the description for the Kickstarter. Get those pictures printed and real big. So
love it. Yes, the bigger the better. Preferably turn them into wallpaper.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got it.
In our guest bedroom.
Yeah. Okay. Done. Yeah. I can't imagine walking into somebody's house in like a 4 foot by 6 foot tall,
totally
Olin Mills picture.
It's the dream. I'm so about this.
All right. So yeah, we'll get that Kickstarter started. People, please support. Pennies a day will really help Zach fulfill his lifelong dream. We'll play some Sarah McLachlan music behind this, and it's really going to sell it. So
JC pennies a day. That's funny.
Oh, JC pennies a day. How dare you, sir? That was fantastic.
Good stuff right there.
All right. So on the podcast, we do this whole thing in a couple of different rounds. And this first round is called the first date round, because when you're first getting to know somebody on a first date, you want to ask the right questions. You don't want to just ask like, do you like it when it rains? But you want to ask things that like you get to know a little bit about a person. And so we're going to start with that one. And actually you kind of led into one already, but what was your first job and what do you remember about it the most?
First job on paper or first job, like legal job, or both?
Follow your heart.
Okay. First job ever. I was 9 years old. We would spend time down in Florida every year. We'd spend like 3 to 4 weeks down in Naples. And I have had an entrepreneurial spirit about me ever since I was a kid. And so I would go up and down the beach and I would find shells that I thought would be cool on necklaces. And then I would go to the shell store down the street and I would buy a handful of shark teeth. And I would sit in the kitchen at night with my mom and we would make shell and shark tooth necklaces. And then the next day I would walk up and down the beach with my arm full of a dozen necklaces and I would sell them for $10 a pop. And I would make like hundreds of dollars a day as a 9-year-old selling these. That's incredible. On the beach.
That's ridiculous. How dare you? That's so cool.
Yeah, but not so legal these days, I don't think. But listen, I think my first legal job I was 15. I was working at a coffee shop, and when I was 15, I was smaller than I am now. I was 4'11", 105 pounds. I couldn't really see over the counter, and my boss was a Harley rider, and he was really tough. And this coffee shop, because he was a Harley rider, all of his Harley friends would show up every Saturday morning. And so there would be maybe 40, 50 Harleys out front of this coffee shop, and they would all be in line, fully leather, chains, tattoos, the whole deal. And I'm like scrawny. My voice was very high pitched. I couldn't see over the counter, but those were my guys. I rode with them. I was tough just being around them.
So wait, this is like a Harley coffee shop?
No. This is this is like your Starbucks in Minnesota, basically.
I just like to imagine that like there's like a jukebox but instead of like sling me a beer, it's give me a latte.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Extra foam, and you got like this like grizzly man like, hey kid, give me my latte, something like that. So
like one of these guys, he would get an apple fritter, which is like an apple donut basically, and he would have me make a salami and mayo sandwich on it. Like these guys had hair on their chest.
Oh, gross.
One day I was biking past the coffee shop, and I was 15 years old, and there was smoke pouring out of the windows, and I was like, what's going on here? There's something wrong. And I biked over to it and I opened the door, and the owner was inside with his Harley, burning out a line from the front door to the place where you order. And it was like the line that you're supposed to stand in when you're waiting for your drink. And it just so happened to be like burnt rubber. It was full on. It was crazy.
Okay. The mental picture that comes to mind when I say coffee house is like some metro guy on an acoustic guitar or like maybe Friends, but absolutely not that. No. That is nowhere near any. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic, man. Yours is way better than mine. Mine, I was a busboy, and I just had people from like that spoke different languages that worked there, and I just learned a lot of bad words. But yours is way better than mine. So
I learned those too at the coffee shop. It was just
I bet you did with your clientele. All day. That's awesome. All right,
good times.
The next question is this. That was a fantastic answer. I was not expecting any of that, so that's fantastic. A little shocked, a little bit. No, that's great. But all right. Are you a picky eater? Is that something you would claim for yourself? Not at all.
Food is my everything. I'm obsessed.
So I am more picky than you probably. But is there any food you won't eat?
You know, I will eat almost anything. So what comes to mind when I think of a food that made me nearly hurl? I worked at a country club for years, and every single year there was a Norwegian group that would come in, and I'm like 98%, actually 99% Scandinavian, so I'm very Norwegian. So when these guys would come in, there would be about 200 of them. I was like, man, my lineage. These are my people right here. And so these guys would come in once a year, and they would have a meal. And it was a very Norwegian meal. So they would have lutefisk, which is a white fish. It's like a cod that's been dehydrated, but then it's been hydrated for 4 days and it turns a little gelatinous. And they would have that with with potatoes and a shot of aquavit, which is a Norwegian. It's basically like a spiced vodka. And that was their lunch. And so they would come in, and I tasted that one time, and I never want to taste it again. They soak it in lye. So it's kind of like a vinegar essentially. And so it's just got a little sour funk to it. And the whole building would smell like that for the next 3 days. And we would go through about 1,400 bottles of spray to make it smell better. Not actually, probably like 2, but still it was rough. It was a rough situation. So when I think of foods that I never want to eat again, or I don't want to eat, I'm going with lutefisk, potatoes, and aquavit.
Oh man, I thought it was going to be like, I don't like fish, but no. It's ludvig. It's like something that the Swedish chef would say. It's orsken borske bita bargadugan or something. But that
exactly.
Oh man, that was not even anywhere near. Good. Zach, you're a shocking individual.
Come on. I love it.
Oh man, Zach, I'm so happy I met you. This is so much fun. Welcome.
Serious.
I want to hang out and just talk about weird stuff with you all day now. So
please.
If that was our first date, I would be just on the edge of my seat the whole time. And congratulations. That was some of the most entertaining answers that I've ever heard to very basic questions. So.
Man, I wish I would have told those on the first date with my wife. Maybe she would have fallen for me then. Early on.
It seems like you did pretty good though. You did all right. So now you guys are making memories, hanging 4x6 foot pictures of yourself in
exactly
in your guys' guest bedroom. You need it. Life
is good.
All right. So that was the first date round. Again, that's just more surface fun stuff. But the next round is called the slow round. It's where we kind of go a couple layers down maybe and kind of get to the heart of who you are. And maybe we'll see there's probably people out there listening that are a lot like you and me. And we've all got some hopes and dreams. We've all got some struggles and fear. And so these kind of lean a little bit more that way. So unless you have like another cool Swedish fish story, then actually on Swedish fish, that sounds delicious right now. I could eat some Swedish fish. So
speaking of,
also back to that, my answer is cilantro. I don't like cilantro. It tastes like soap to me. And so yours way better. Again, like you're carrying the weight here today, and I want to thank you for that.
Cilantro tasting like soap is actually a genetic thing. You knew that? Yeah. We did these like DNA tests and it came back and it wasn't shocking at all. I was 99% Scandinavian. But some of the things on it were like things that you might be more inclined to dislike the flavor of, things that like all based on your genes. And that's when I found out that cilantro is actually controlled by your DNA.
Yeah, I think it's
Fancy
like
that.
16% of people. So there's dozens of us out there.
But you're 16%. You are an odd duck.
I like to say I'm unique. Odd duck feels a little
probably
shamey.
More PC. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good. All right. So yeah, we're back to the slow round. Thanks for making me feel better about my oddness there. But yeah, so there's a little bit more heart, a little bit less cilantro and Swedish fish. So all right, you are a successful entrepreneur. You've entrepreneured things and you've made tell us about the brand Sunday for a second. That was something that you started and super successful. Like, give us the rundown on that.
Thank you. So fun. Yeah. So when I was 27, I hit a spot in my life where I was kind of questioning a lot of my faith. I didn't know what I really wanted to believe in anymore. I was struggling, not necessarily with my relationship with God, but I was struggling with other Christians. And I think that's kind of been an echo for a lot of my faith was like, man, a lot of people believe the right thing or what I believe, but I just don't see it in their actions. And then I'd be surrounded by people that like at restaurants that I worked at or wherever, and they would be like the most compassionate, kind people. And they didn't believe anything that I believed. And I was just very conflicted. So I ended up moving out to Australia to join this program out there where we studied the Bible really intensely. You would study for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. So literally, like if we were studying Matthew, you would read the Gospel of Matthew 5 times through over the course of a week, and then you would create your own commentary on it. And so by the time I was done with this program, I had like 20, 30 pages of notes on every book of the Bible. And a lot of people started asking me for them, or they said that they wanted to go into a program like that, but they couldn't dedicate the time to it. They couldn't go across the world. And so I thought it was a good idea to make this product called the Bible Study, which basically holds your hand as you read through the Bible over the course of a year. Pretty simplistic, me just prompting you with questions to help make your faith real and personal and be less overwhelmed. And from there, that book started to impact a lot of lives, and we started creating more products that also helped people grow in their relationship with God and make understanding the Bible easier. And just within the last 6 months or so, we ended up being acquired by a major publisher, and just going through that whole process of now working with somebody else that we really felt could take it to another level. Because you have to realize, like, as an entrepreneur, even though I started selling shark tooth necklaces on the beach in Florida, it wasn't done the official way. And so building this business was like, let's just see what we can do and try it out and make it as if it's an e-commerce business and get it in as many hands as possible, because I really felt like there was a huge need for it. And it just grew and grew. And like, in last August, Inc. 5000 said that we were the 63 fastest growing business in America. We were number 4 fastest growing consumer product in America. And like, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I'm just figuring it out as I go. And so when the opportunity presented itself to partner with a bigger publishing house, it was a no-brainer, because I knew that with my expertise and their expertise, it could really go to another level.
Yeah. So you've been entrepreneuring for so long. You built some companies. Is entrepreneuring a word? Let's just go ahead and say
today.
It feels good. But so you've been entrepreneurizing for so long. And so like, let's say shoot back to 20-year-old you, or you just getting started with the brand Sunday, or any of the things that you've built. What's a piece of advice that you'd give yourself to somebody who's just like totally green, or the green version of you?
Totally. A couple things. Everything takes way longer than you expect it to. So when I was 22, I left college with a media communications degree, and who knows what you do with that. And so I was trying to figure it all out, and I was like, I'm going to start a business, and I'm going to be really successful and self-sufficient by the time I'm 26. by the time 26 came around, my entire life was falling apart. I was questioning everything. The company I was working for got bought out and we all got let go. And I had no direction at all. And I'm like, man, I think from an early age, we see people that are so successful also at an early age without realizing the time and dedication that goes in to getting to that place and how much it actually requires. And we're like, wow, they just blew up out of nowhere. So I'm not successful in a year, I might as well hang it up and go work somewhere else. And so I think the things that I've learned over the years is like, man, every timeline that I put on myself, at least double, triple it, because it's going to take way longer than you expect. Even with the brand Sunday, we were paying 16 people before I paid myself $1. So I didn't take $1 of the company for 2 years because everything we made went right back into it. Cause I was like, if I want this to be the level that I believe it's going to be, it needs to be like, I need a full-time job at the same time. And I need to be building this at night. And one of the greatest things that somebody taught me when I was starting out was to do one small thing a day, every single day towards your goal, and build a habit out of that. And over time, it's going to compile into being something so much bigger than if you would have just spent a few hours every Tuesday or Thursday on it. But if you want to be a designer, great, draw one logo. Spend 20 minutes studying somebody's work, send one email to somebody, whatever it is, just do one small thing every single day. And over time, it's going to grow and become so much more. And that's been something that I bring into my life today. It's carried with me for the last 15 years and been extremely helpful.
Yeah. The thing you said in the beginning there about how everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. Honestly, that was one of the big thoughts behind this podcast in the first place, because we see everybody's highlight reel. We see so especially with business or if you're creative in the arts, and you just see the finished product, but you don't see the years and the time of hard work that you've put into that. And also that if you're gonna like the long haul that you were talking about, just making small incremental changes. By the end of, if you make a 1% change every day in 100 days, you've 100% of yourself.
Exactly.
So,
yes. Yeah. That's it. I couldn't agree more.
This is fantastic, Zach. I'm so happy you're here. Now, you've just actually released another book that is so cool. You want to tell people about See the Good?
Yeah, absolutely. So new book came out called See the Good. It's all about finding grace, gratitude, and optimism in every day. I think it's so easy to look at the news, look at the media, and be overwhelmed by everything that's going on around us. But if you really look at history, yes, there's a lot of bad things that are happening right now, but bad things have been happening for all of time. And in my opinion, it was way worse 2,000 years ago for Christians. And so today is like, wow, we've improved so much. Like if you even look at all the stats from how the world has improved positively over the last 25 years, it's actually incredible how we've grown as a society, but that's not marketable stuff. And so we love gossip and we love to hear about the bad things happening in the world. And it's what sells in news and media. And so that's what companies push. And so that's all we get to see. When in reality, I really believe that God is moving in incredible ways all over the world. And I think if we learn to focus on those and to actually open our mind to and see where he's moving, not to disregard the bad things that are happening in our lives, because I've had a lot of really bad things happen. I'm sure you have. Everybody listening to this podcast has had some really tough stuff happen to them. And I don't mean to disregard that at all. I think we need to live through that and learn from it. But I do believe that if we shift our focus a little bit to see how God is moving in the world, I think we're going to be a lot more joyful and a lot more hopeful of the future. And we're just going to enjoy our lives a lot more.
Yeah. So I feel like you're preaching to me right now, because genuinely, like if you watch the news cycle, the world really does feel heavy. And it's all what you're consuming and all that stuff. But like, where do you So you've put all this thought into seeing the good and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you do? How do you keep seeing the good when the world just feels so heavy and you just feel that yourself?
Sure. I think you can go through and you can audit what you can consume,
Yeah.
And so look at the people that you follow, look at the news media, the news sources that you listen to or read every single day. And if it makes you feel a certain way, then unfollow them or mute them or block them, whatever you got to do. But don't even have that be like your main source of news. There's a great email list called the Pour Over. I think they do a great job at looking at things. There's great like good news accounts to follow, emails to receive. Maria Shriver has an amazing one on Sundays. I think it's just filling our minds with things that are good and with how with God moving in the world, it's going to really impact your life.
Yeah. And like, I know for you and maybe for a lot of people out there listening, faith is such a big part of your life. It's just where you're putting your focus and what you're focusing on that will ultimately change how you feel and what you do, because what you consume really affects how you are. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's not to be like ignorant of things that are going on. Yes, there's stuff bad happening every single day. It's important to be aware of it, but I also think it's important not to let it drag us down. Yeah. As humans, we have something called a negativity bias, where we're prone to look at the bad that's happening in our lives. So if 10 things happen to us in a day and 9 of them are good or neutral and one of them is really bad, we're going to focus on that bad one for the rest of the day just because we're naturally inclined to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think if we understand that that's the way that our brain works and that that's the way that we're programmed, we can do a little bit of rewiring. And we can rethink how we can consume things and how they impact us. Because man, what if 9 awesome things happen to you during the day and you focused on those more? Those are going to grow and it's going to snowball into many more good things happening to you.
Yeah, this actually just happened to us the other day. I've got 2 little boys, and we had a great day of biking. And towards the end of that day, one of my sons took a spill on the bike. Yeah. And so it was bedtime, and I was like, guys, what was the best part of today? And they go, I fell on my bike. I'm like, that's not the good thing that happened today. We did so much good stuff. We went to the park. You guys did the slides and the zip line and all this stuff. And you took one spill on the bike, and that's all we're talking about now. But there's so much good. And if you can look for that good, and put your focus on those things, that's the good stuff.
And it doesn't come natural. It takes grooming. It takes time. So like, it's not all like butterflies and rainbows. Like it's a process too.
All right. So
that's a great example.
This is a question that I don't know if you're going to get asked a lot, but like, do you have bad days? Even still, even with all of this stuff, like, are there days where you're just like, you know what? It's not a good one.
100%. And I think everybody does, but I think we learn not to let those bad days consume us. Yeah. And we learn that, today's a tough one, but I just had 7 good ones. So I'm not going to let this direct the rest of my year. And
I just didn't want to leave this conversation feeling that you weren't human. So
100%.
I'm good now. That. Okay. All right. There's one question we ask everybody on the podcast, and it's simple, but it could be simple or very complex. But what's something you're learning right now?
Ooh, what am I learning right now? I'm learning the importance of living out your faith versus just learning about your faith. I think in America, there's a lot of people that are really smart with what they believe. They know exactly what they believe. They spend all their time listening to sermons and going to church and doing all these things, which are really important things. But also, like Jesus says that like you should feed the hungry. And you should give drink to the thirsty and clothe the naked and be with sick people and visit people in prison. And how often is it that that we live a life doing that stuff? I think those are very simple commands, and that's what Jesus tells us to do. And so I think if we can learn how to switch our mind a little bit from focusing only on consuming knowledge and growing in that space and actually living out our faith, It makes your theology much more simple, but I think the fruit of it is much greater.
That's cool. I like that.
That's what I'm
man.
learning.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh man. Yeah. That sounds like something that it's definitely not an overnighter, and it's definitely a 1%er.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get it all in one day either. So that's fantastic.
Of course. But do something small every day. And I think if you like what we were talking about earlier, I think it applies the same. Maybe it means you send one encouraging text to somebody that's going through it right now. Maybe you drop off food for somebody that's not feeling good. Maybe it's like just showing support to somebody that's going in for a procedure that they weren't expecting. It's like, it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. It can be like building a family that glorifies God, or like something small. Doesn't have to be crazy, man.
I love it. Yeah. It's like that, Bob Goff, that line, you don't have to go across an ocean. Sometimes just going across the street that makes the biggest impact. So I love that.
100%. Yes.
All right. So we are in the final round of questions here. And I hope you got your 3x5 cards and a marker or a pen.
I got my cards.
Look at you. You're ready. Now, so these are going to be 5 quick this or that style questions to see if maybe you and I are alike. Sound good?
Okay. Yep. I have no idea what I'm getting into, and I'm a little nervous.
As you should be. All right. Would you rather wear a beanie or a beret? So are you feeling very Parisian or Pacific Northwest?
Yep.
All right.
And are we got your answer down at the same time? Yep.
Yeah, here we go.
Ready.
3, 2, 1. I went beanie. You went beanie. Look at us.
Man. Wow. We need to go get a croissant together.
We do. There's nothing wrong with a good croissant, but I would rather much rather wear a beanie than a beret. So it's not the look for me.
It's not my vibe. I wish. One of my friends was in Paris last week, and he was wearing a bright blue beret all around town, and I thought he looked way cooler than anything I've ever worn.
That's fantastic. It's been my wife. She crochets every now and again. And when she was first learning how to crochet, she's like, I'm going to make you a beanie. And she made me this beanie. But I think the pattern that she got was for like an infant or a toddler. And so it like
covered your ears.
It didn't even make it to my ears. My ears popped out like I was an elephant, and like my head was just suction cupped in. It was something. So,
man,
I will go with an appropriately sized beanie. How about that?
Yes. Fantastic. I can send you some of my specs. I used to crochet beanies, my freshman year of college.
Okay.
It was whatever. It was quite the time, but if you want one, just let me know.
I'll holler at you on your Patreon and grab a genuine Zach Windahl beanie there. All right. Ready for round 2?
Yep. Round 2.
All right. When it comes to fruit candies, would you rather have Skittles or Starbursts?
Ooh,
that's a tough one. This is genuinely probably the toughest question I've asked all day.
Man.
For me, at least.
Hardest one for me to answer.
You ready to go?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. I went Skittles.
1.
You went
Skittles as well. Come
Look
on.
at us.
Jeez, we are tasting the rainbow.
Yeah, we are. Listen, I love both. And the only thing that Starburst has going against it is it's a labor intensive candy. Got to unwrap all those, but
yep. I mean, when we were kids, we would learn how to unwrap them in our mouths. You'd pop the whole Starburst in. My neighbors, I grew up with a group of girls, and I basically had like 7 sisters when I was younger. And they told me that I would be a good kisser one day if I knew how to unwrap a Starburst with just my mouth. And so that's my experience with Starburst. And that's what I still think of today.
Would your wife agree? Has it helped in the long run?
Yeah. We have 400 Starbursts downstairs right now. I still practice. It's part of my morning ritual.
Oh, good on you. You know, some people meditate. Some people like drink their coffee. Not you. You're just working out. Some people go to the gym, but you're working out some different muscles. Good on you.
Yes.
All right. Woo. This has gone off the rails and I love it. All right.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. So this one actually works out and I didn't plan this, but this is a you versus your wife situation.
Okay.
Would you rather live in a warm climate or have all the seasons? I am ready when you are.
3, 2, 1.
Do it. You put warm. I put seasons.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what's
We aren't
going
that
on
much
there?
alike. Jeez, this year was kind of my last straw with the really cold, and I mean Orlando. Like you got seasons in Orlando, which I'm excited for. I'm moving there in a few months, but you don't have the drastic seasons that we have up in Minnesota.
You know, I've lived in either Texas or Florida for the majority of my life, and so you know, I'm just ready for a little bit of a change up.
I get it.
Just a pre-warning too, you're moving to Florida, so the seasons here are hot, really hot with hurricanes, and then hot with love bugs. So
yeah, I'm ready for it. Give it all to me. I clearly chose that one.
Also, my dumb joke is like, I wouldn't mind the cold every now and again. I'm allowed to put more clothes on. I'm not allowed to take them off. It gets awkward after a certain point. So people.
But then I would be able to clothe the naked.
You know, I don't know if they want my sweaty clothes. So, all right. You entrepreneur things, and you've entrepreneurized several things. So when it comes to starting a project or like having a project, would you rather start a project or complete a project?
Ooh.
They both have their different satisfaction levels.
Yeah. Wow.
This is going to be a fight of John A. Cuff books here in a second.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I went start. You went complete. We were so close for so long. What happened to us?
Man, I love starting things, and I think I'm really good at starting things. And I don't think a lot of people are good at finishing things. And I want to take pride in that. And I want to be known for being the guy that actually completes things. So even though it's easier for me to start, I want to, I'm speaking into future Zach that I'm choosing complete.
I believe in you. You are going to complete all the things. Yeah. I just very much enjoy dreaming stuff up and then being like, hey, somebody else run with it. So
I get it. That's
where
100%.
my brain goes. Yep.
Yes.
All right. Last one. We can win this, or we can finish this out in the positive. I believe in us. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. When it comes
100%.
to superpowers, would you rather have the superpower to control the weather or teleport?
Ooh.
What are we going to do? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I went teleport. You went teleport.
Hey,
look at us.
Come on.
3 out of 5 ain't bad. I feel good about that.
Absolutely. I think we should do a DNA test. We might be similar.
You know, my brother took a DNA test, so I think that counts for me too. I'm not sure exactly the science on that.
Yeah. Did it say we were brothers?
It did.
Fantastic.
So, no, I didn't see you at Thanksgiving. Where were you? But
no, I was. That's funny.
But yeah, so you're teleporting. Where are you teleporting to? Just if you had the odd chance to just teleport right now.
Right now, if I could teleport anywhere today, it would be to Orlando, I think, to be close to family down there. And haven't been down in a couple months, and I'm excited to go there.
That's going to be great. We'll welcome you with open arms. I'll meet you at the airport, all that good stuff. Help you unload the moving truck. Oh, yeah. Great. Not that Swedish fish, though. Yeah. Zach, thank you so much for doing this. This has been an absolute blast. Now, there's people out there that maybe they're bumping into you for the first time today, and they want more of this, or maybe they want like a 60-second devotional for the day, or maybe they want to see you in a Canadian tuxedo, whatever it is. Where's a good place for them to get to follow you, just to get to know a little bit more about you?
Yeah, Instagram and TikTok at Zach Windahl, posting content on there almost every day. And then on my website, zachwindahl.com, has all info for everything on there.
Sounds fun, man. I can't wait for you to be a little bit closer to us here, and we'll hang out and be best friends. Can't wait. And I'll see you at Thanksgiving if not. So it'd be fantastic.
Wait. We will be there.
Mom and dad send their best. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh man! But everybody out there, go follow Zach, get to know him, and buy his book. It really could be a game changer for so many people. And thank you for putting good things like that out into the world. It's fantastic.
Yes. Thank you, man. Really, really honored.